Hello again, everyone. Today what we have is a Singer Quantum Stylus 9960, and this little critter came in because the bobbin case had spun out. It started out, with the loop underneath, and jamming, and the bobbin case spinning out. And of course, these have the drop-in bobbin, and they have the plastic bobbin case, which I'm so fond of, being sarcastic again. And what happens is when this little guy spins out, the needle strikes it. I use my little file as an emphasis pointer. The needle strikes it because it always spins this way. That's the direction of your hook turning. And your needle will strike it thusly, and here and there and over here and there. And the needle will go clean through to the other side, and you'll have these divots, protrusions, divots on this side, protrusions on this side. You can see those are sticking out like crazy, and the thread will hang on those. If you get one of these, it has to be polished off. This lady was pretty persistent, not the lady that has this machine. This is a different one here. I'll just give you the illustration. This bobbin case had been spun out so many times. The lady was sewing on something very heavy, had heavy thread, and it kept flipping up, and it kept jamming, and she kept after it until she put about 20 holes in it, and 5 of them are just enough to just completely disqualify this guy. A lot of times you can scrape these off and polish them off, but if they get too bad, you have to get another one. Especially if there's a ding along the edge, you can polish that out. But if it's got a big gouge in the edge there, it can't be taken care of. But these come in different widths. Some are a little more robust than others. This one has one of the better ones in it, so it was easy to recondition it. Not easy, just I'm trying to say it was doable. Some are impossible, some are doable, so I call that easy when it's doable. The width of this one, I'll show you. Let's see, take it to 0, and we'll crank it up, and then take it down to its width is about 42 thousandths here, maybe 43 one-thousandths of an inch. It's pretty thin. Here's one over here. It's a little more robust. Still plastic, nylon, whatever it's made out of. This one's like 55, 56 1,000. So this is like 10 1,000ths thicker. The needle hits this, it may not penetrate it unless it's an 18 or someone on jeans or something, and you turn the handle in and you really force it. But needles will bounce off, and that's the kind of was in this one. It had quite a few right here is where it had most of its hits on the outside, and I polished all those off, got it back in. And probably what initially caused it to jam and spin out is up here you have the lay-in threading, which is another thing I'm not real fond of. It has problems. Your tension discs right here, open and closing, so you can see them open and close, very subtle there, right here. They will open and close when I raise and lower the presser foot down. See, they close, raise it, they open. Very subtle. Open, close. That pinches down in the thread. Now what happens is thread, lint come off your thread, and it comes off your thread and it'll build up in here. You always want to look in there and make sure there's no thread. I took the cover off. There's one screw that takes the cover off. It's this little guy right here. The cover comes off, and you see that this thread has to be under here for the guide, it has to be around there. And when you thread it, you're doing it all in the blind. It's all going on behind the scenes there, and you don't know if it's dropping in there or not. That's why I tell you always go through this procedure where you raise it, thread it, test it, and put it through the eye of the needle, because it could get anywhere up in here, and it's kind of a system I'm not really fond of, and that's what causes these problems with these machines. It's not a bad little machine compared to what you buy nowadays. It's no Kenmore 185. It's no, it's no Singer 401. It is a new machine, and the new machines have the plastic parts, and you just have to deal with it. A lot of times on this one, you can tighten down the needle plate screws too tight, and the needle plate will collapse. You've got to be careful on these. You don't tighten the needle clamp too tight. It'll strip out because it's real soft, and there's a lot of things I'm not real crazy about. I encourage people that if they're sewing on this one to go over to your tension. If it's on 8, I would take it up to about 10, at least 10, that's halfway in the balance, that pulls that thread up a little quicker and keeps it from looping underneath and jamming. So if you see it starting to loop underneath, check between the disc, make sure there's no thread built up in between, double check your threading, bring your tension up a notch or two, and don't use anything other than common all-purpose dual duty thread. If it says machine quilting, you're going to tear your machine up. Hand quilting, there's 20 sizes of thread, 19 of them will tear this machine up. They won't do that on an all metal machine. It'll just make a weird stitch and you wonder what's going on, but it'll tear this one up because this will spin out, the needle will hit it, and it'll chew it up, and you'll need another one. I encourage people, if you have a bobbin case like this, keep another one in your sewing kit. That way, if you need one real bad and it's late, you're trying to finish your project and you can't call a guy to come out, or maybe you live too far away from a guy, or maybe there's none in your area, keep an extra one and recondition one, keep the other one new, and be aware of the fact that sometimes you'll order these and they'll be out of stock, and until it arrives you won't have a sewing machine to use. So have an extra one of those. It's a critical piece. It's like having a spare tire on your car. So that's a couple quick tips on the Singer Quantum Stylus 9960. Not a bad machine, but you got to be easy with it and know what its little persnickety idiosyncrasies are. Thanks.